With a live look at the Capitol in Washington, D.C., where fraud in Minnesota's social services will take center stage in a congressional hearing. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Julie Nelson. That hearing begins in less than 12 hours with several state Republican lawmakers set to testify. Investigative reporter AJ Legault joins us live from the nation's capital with a look at what to expect. Hi, AJ.
Hey there, Julie. Minnesota's stolen billions, certainly on the national radar, and tomorrow morning it's going to get a congressional spotlight with an oversight hearing into Minnesota's Medicaid fraud that is guaranteed to be politically charged. The House Oversight Committee is chaired by Kentucky Republican James Comer, who called the hearings into Minnesota's fraud, saying Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison have either been asleep at the wheel or complicit in a massive fraud involving taxpayer dollars in Minnesota's social services programs. While there will be no shortage of political jabs, the main thing is the main thing, and that's, of course, fraud, of which in Minnesota there's also no shortage.
It's stunning. That figure of $9 billion potentially.
Representative Marian Rarick is one of the 3 Minnesota Republican lawmakers who serve on the State House Fraud Committee scheduled to testify in Wednesday's congressional hearing. We caught up with her here in D.C.
It's not just the Medicaid, as you know, because you've reported on this, but it's pervasive throughout. And so we're here to talk about fraud.
In the last year alone,
is anyone coming to talk with us?
Carol Evans' investigations exposed fancy cars, fly-by-night companies,
You're billing thousands of dollars for work that's not being done.
fake meetings,
They just billed us for nothing.
forged names,
I did not sign this legal document.
homeless veterans,
I never met any of these people.
dead people billed, phantom services,
For that 14,000, you got what?
Nothing.
vulnerable people with real needs exploited.
And you're sitting there in the cold thinking, okay, any day now, any day now. And that any day never comes.
There have been multiple federal raids and a growing stack of indictments as the DOJ now estimates the fraud cost taxpayers billions.
And when you don't have anybody watching the house, you're going to get things stolen from you.
How does this stay on the focus of the main thing, which is fraud, without delving off into political theater?
Well, I'm sure there'll be plenty of political theater tomorrow. There's nothing that the 3 lawmakers from Minnesota can do to stop that. But we will do our best to present the information in front of the committee and frankly in front of the whole nation of what's really happening and what we actually know.
Now, Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison have been asked to testify at a later hearing on February 10th. Governor Walz, in a statement, said he was happy to work with Congress, but said that this oversight committee has a habit of holding circus hearings. For KARE 11 Investigates in Washington, D.C. tonight, I'm AJ Legault.
AJ, that was a great overview of all the stories you've covered on this fraud and kind of the journey we've been on here for the last several years. We know those 3 lawmakers will be testifying, but my understanding is there are other things going on as well where they're gathering information at the congressional level from Minnesota. Do you have any details on that?
Well, this committee has also sent letters to former DHS executives in Minnesota, former Commissioner Jody Harpstead and Eric Grumdahl, who was the assistant commissioner in charge of homelessness and that housing stabilization program that we exposed being so rife with fraud. They've both received letters asking them to sit for transcribed interviews.
And accountability is a word we're hearing a lot of now. Do you know, can this committee do anything to force some accountability here?
Well, the chairman has talked about compelling people to testify possibly if they don't want to. It remains to be seen what exactly the results of a hearings like this would be, other than bringing what has happened to the forefront and shining a light on it.
All right. We know you'll have a busy day tomorrow. Thanks so much, AJ.